he printed over $200,000 in fake money and spent it all without ever getting caught for 10 years. No one suspected him, no bank flagged his bills, and no one knew he was living on counterfeit cash until one tiny mistake changed everything. This is the true story of a man who decided to take the law into his own hands, not with guns or gangs, but with paper and ink. He didn't rob banks, he didn't join crime rings. Instead, he built his own secret printing operation inside his own home. For over a decade, he passed fake bills in stores, restaurants, and shops across the country, always staying one step ahead of the law. But how did he do it? How did he avoid detection for so long? And what finally led to his downfall? In today's video, we'll uncover the shocking details behind this real-life counterfeit scheme, where one man's obsession with beating the system turned into a high-stakes game of deception and consequences. So if you've ever wondered what it takes to print your own money and live off it, keep watching. Our story starts in the early 2000s, somewhere in the United States, with a man we'll call John. John wasn't a criminal mastermind or part of any underground gang. In fact, he was just an average guy, working odd jobs, barely making ends meet, and struggling to pay his bills. But one day, he came across something online that changed everything. A forum post explaining how someone had printed counterfeit money using nothing more than a high-quality printer, special paper, and a few tutorials. At first, he thought it was a joke, but the more he read, the more he realized this could work. So he did what anyone would do in that situation. He Googled it. Within days, he found guides on how to copy real banknotes, down to the tiniest security features like watermarks, color-shifting ink, and micro-printing. Then he bought what he needed, a high-resolution printer, special polymer paper that mimicked real currency, high-quality ink to match the exact colors of real bills, software like Photoshop to edit and design the notes. Slowly but surely, he started printing. First tens, then hundreds, then thousands of dollars worth of fake money, and surprisingly, they looked real. Not perfect, but good enough to pass off at small shops, gas stations, and even some restaurants. Here's where things get interesting. John didn't go out and buy luxury cars or expensive gadgets. Instead, he used the fake money for everyday purchases, groceries, fast food, gasoline, small electronics. He knew if he tried to spend large amounts or use the bills at places with high-tech scanners, he'd get caught. So he stayed low-key. He became a regular at certain stores, friendly, polite, always paid in cash. No one suspected him. Cashiers were too busy. Security cameras weren't focused on every transaction. And over time, he got good at it. He even developed a system. Never spend more than $50 at one place. Always act natural. Avoid surveillance-heavy areas. Never return to the same store too often. For 10 years, that's 3,650 days, John lived off fake money. He never got a second job. He never borrowed from friends. He simply printed what he needed, and no one ever stopped him. He watched the news for updates on counterfeit bills, studied new security features added to real money, and upgraded his techniques accordingly. He even avoided social media, knowing that digital footprints can lead to exposure. To the world, he was just another quiet guy living a simple life. But behind closed doors, he was running his own secret money factory. But as the saying goes, no plan survives contact with reality. One day, John made a small mistake. He tried to buy something at a new convenience store and unknowingly triggered a new anti-counterfeit scanner built into the register. The cashier looked at the bill, then at him. She said nothing, but quietly called the police. When officers showed up later that week at his door, he thought it was routine, but once inside, they found everything. Thousands of fake bills, his printer setup, design files, notes on how he had spent the money. It was all there. After 10 years of flying under the radar, he was finally caught. At first glance, John's story might seem like a clever hustle. He outsmarted the system, avoided violence, and lived off fake money without hurting anyone directly. But let's take a closer look, because beneath the surface, this was a serious crime with real consequences. Printing fake money isn't just about cheating banks or stores, it's a threat to the entire economy. When counterfeit bills enter circulation, they devalue real currency, cause inflation, create losses for businesses and consumers, force governments to spend millions on anti-counterfeit technology. Even small-scale counterfeiting can ripple through the system. Every fake $20 bill John spent meant a store owner lost $20 of real money and had to raise prices or cut costs to make up for it. So while he may not have pointed a gun at anyone, he was still stealing, just more quietly. How does someone justify printing fake money for over a decade? In psychology, this is often explained by something called the slippery slope theory. People don't wake up one day and decide to commit a major crime. Instead, they start with a small, unethical act, then slowly rationalize bigger ones. For John, it may have started with a single fake $20 bill, then another, and soon it became normal. Over time, his brain stopped seeing it as wrong because no one caught him. And if no one catches you, it's easy to believe you're not really doing anything wrong. So how did John avoid detection for 10 years? A few key reasons. He didn't go big. He avoided high-value transactions or flashy spending. He stayed under the radar. No digital footprint, no social media posts, no bragging. He studied security features, kept updating his methods to match new banknotes. He targeted low-risk places, small shops, gas stations, gas chains where cashiers rarely check every bill closely. In short, he played the game carefully, and for a long time, he won. But here's the thing about crime, especially financial crime. You don't get caught when you're doing it. You get caught when you think you're safe. That convenience store with the new scanning register, that wasn't just bad luck. It was the inevitable result of staying in the game too long. Technology improves, systems evolve, and eventually, someone always finds you. John's story might sound like something out of a movie, but it's real. And while his method was clever, the outcome was predictable. So what can we learn from this? No matter how smart or careful you are, if you break the law, eventually you will get caught. Technology is getting better, surveillance is everywhere, and even the smallest mistake can expose years of deception. John thought he had beaten the system, but in the end, the system still won. One of the most dangerous parts of this story is that John started small. He didn't rob banks or deal drugs, he just printed a few fake bills. But small crimes can become habits, and habits can become lifestyles. That's why it's important to draw the line early, because once you start down the wrong path, it gets harder and harder to turn back. John struggled with money, and many people do. The difference is most people don't choose crime to fix it. If you're having financial trouble, talk to someone, reach out for help, look into government programs or community support. There are legal ways to survive hard times. Printing fake money is not one of them. Many people think counterfeiting only hurts big banks or corporations, but the truth is, it affects all of us. When fake money enters circulation, businesses lose money, prices go up, real people pay the price. So when someone prints fake money, they're not just hurting faceless companies, they're hurting you, me, and everyone around us. So what's the takeaway from this story? It's not just about fake money, it's about choices, it's about consequences, and it's about how one small decision can change the course of a life forever. John didn't start out as a criminal. He was just someone struggling to get by, and he made the wrong choice. But what if he had reached out for help instead? What if he'd found a better way to survive? We'll never know, but we do know that his life changed forever the moment he decided to print that first fake bill. After being caught, John faced serious legal consequences. He was sentenced to prison, his reputation was ruined, and everything he thought he gained was taken away in an instant. He lost years of freedom, just to save a few dollars. That's the real cost of crime, not just the jail time, but the loss of everything you once had. Before you judge John too harshly, ask yourself, if you were broke, desperate, and saw a way to make money overnight, would you do it? Because in the end, we're all just one decision away from a completely different life. So choose Gigi.